So we are live on YouTube.
We lose Bill.
Yep.
We lost Bill.
The same thing happened to me when we went live last week. It just dropped off.
Okay.
How did we lose Bill?
Just disappeared right when I hit the button.
Wonderful timing. I wonder if you hit the hang up instead of the got it button when it tells you you're on
Live.
not to throw me on the bus there, but
You vaporize him.
Give me just 1 second. I'll just call.
He had that trouble last week too, didn't he?
my internet crashed right when we went live last week for like 5 minutes there, and I was trying to dial back my cell and everything else. So, but this is the joys of these areas.
He's there. Connecting to audio.
Yeah, there he is.
There he goes.
Yeah,
Yes, Bill.
no idea what happened here, guys. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Bill, if you're using your phone or your iPad, I think you turn the camera around so it's just shooting the other way now.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways, we'll go ahead and get started. Sorry about that, everyone. Technical difficulty here, so hopefully it won't come back. So welcome to everybody. This is our regular meeting of February the 15th, and we're live streamed electronically. And so we're going to go ahead and begin. The meeting is opened. Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Yeah, we can't see you.
You have to turn your camera around.
Camera. How do you do that?
Oh, you're getting there. You're getting closer.
Well,
I haven't
looks
done
like we're
anything.
looking.
You can see the floor of your house now.
Oh, I don't know what happened here because
yeah, tap the screen, Bill, and you're going to see the. It looks like a camera with the circles in it. To switch it back so it's facing you.
okay, you'll have to. Can you hold on a minute? I'll just get some help here.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No. I need some help, sorry. Having some trouble with the camera here. It's already on, so. I can't. Come on. There.
There you go.
Okay, sorry, everyone. I don't know what happened. I'm
Thanks,
not
Kyle.
sure. Anyways, if we can open our meeting then, and by having a moment of silence, please, everyone. Thanks, everyone. And I guess I could say just generally, like my thoughts tonight are with really everybody who is working through hopefully the final stages of COVID-19. Things are loosening up gradually, and I think they're going to continue to in the near future. So I guess in an ongoing basis, if we can just keep everyone in mind, and especially people who may be struggling a bit with the ongoing ups and downs of COVID. So if we can do that, that would be great. I appreciate it. We're going to also, I must remind all of council that if you have any disclosure of interest, you can declare it now or anytime during the meeting. We do have a motion first. And the first one was moved by Jeff Carroll and seconded by Karen Jennings that council agree to move items 8B, C, D, F, and G. B, C, D, F, and G from information item to action item for discussion. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And the next is a motion moved by Karen Jennings and seconded by Ian Straight that the regular meeting of council agenda dated February the 15th, 2022 be approved as circulated. Before we vote on that, if I could just ask council that when we come to maybe a business or other business at the end, if you can give us consensus, then I'd just like to bring up one issue very quickly, which isn't on the agenda, and that is to get consensus from council that we can move to Rosedale Hall for our interviews. So as you saw some emails that in the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking after the interviews, and it is thought that it would be good to move to Rosedale Hall. So I'd like to just put that on other business to get consensus from council. And otherwise, I guess maybe Christy, I'll ask you this, or Christy or Andrew, I'll ask you this. We could, if we can just add it to the to this motion that I've just read, then it would become the amended motion, or is getting consensus enough?
I think if you add it to the amended motion, that would be all right.
Okay, so then I'm going to just amend that, and that would come up under other business. So I'm just going to add that to the amended motion, and I'll ask Karen and Ian, if you're the mover and seconder, if that's okay, and if you can just change this to the amended motion. Okay, and Ian?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so then that's amended motion. All in favor? That's carried, thank you. And now we have a motion moved by Ian Straight and seconded by Claus Vandermeer that the minutes of the regular meeting of council of February the 1st, 2022 be approved as circulated. All in favor? Those are carried. Thank you. Any business arising from those minutes? Claus?
Yes, thank you, Reeve. The report to municipal officers in regards to the Montague renovation and action plan that was given to us by IBI Group. Is there any indication when they're coming back for a follow-up? Like we had several questions we'd asked them and so forth. Is there a plan when they're coming back?
Yes, Andrew.
I had just received some additional information from them via email today. So what I was looking at was bringing more information back at the March 1st meeting.
Okay. Thanks.
So, yeah, thank you for bringing that, mentioning that clause. I was going to mention it myself. And this is just a general comment that I'm going to make, and I think it's important enough to do it, to express it now. And that is that, and just so that the public knows what we're talking about, this is for the Montague renovation plan and addition plan for our buildings. This is, we all know this is probably the biggest decision that any council have had to make in years and years and years. And I still feel this is my concern is that because this is an election year, sooner or later, we're going to be in lame duck. And I'm not sure that it's a great idea to be having a brand new council to be straddled with this issue. So I'm just expressing that so that we all, staff, council, can be aware of this and, you know, try to get this moved forward and make some decisions sooner than later, because as I said, once lame duck comes in, if we go to lame duck, then, you know, this may be a decision that we won't be able to make. I just wanted to make that comment. And I think, Ian, did I see your hand? Yeah,
Yeah,
Ian?
you did. Yeah, thank you very much, Reed. I guess my thing is there is a full report that's available with drawings and everything else.
Yeah, there is additional report with additional information, and that'll be part of that, plus the questions that were asked that would come back to the next meeting for March 1st is the expectation there.
Okay, so we're going to get the full report sent to council so we can review it.
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
And as everybody knows, that we're discussing it because this is business arising from the minutes. Claus and then Karen. Claus?
Thank you, Reeve. Andrew, in that report, are the drawings that they showed us there at the last, going to be included in that report too? Actual concept drawings?
Yes, there'll be the information you saw in the presentation, plus more detail from that, and then also now some additional pricing that will be brought to the meeting for comparison.
All right, thank you.
Karen?
I seem to recall that they had said that there was information with reference to doing the rentals at our current site versus a build on the 22 acres. If you have that report, can we get it sooner than getting it all on the 1st of March?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can look into that so that there's time to digest that and read it in more detail and not have too short of a time frame.
Okay,
And
thanks.
one of the things that I'm really interested in, and hopefully we're all interested in this, but that is to start being able to see some comparisons, and maybe that's what you're talking about, Andrew, but some comparisons in what it's going to cost to go brand new compared to reno. You know, and anyways, I'll just leave it at that. I'm very interested in being able to see that and make the comparison. Did see one other hand, and I think it was you, Jeff.
I just want to also just agree with that too as well. I'd like to have the report early because I mean, I imagine it's pretty big. So trying to go through that with a couple days before, I think is going to be a little bit tricky. And this report also, it's a more of an energy one too as well, right? So I mean, there's going to be other further ones we're going to have to talk about for more architectural plans too as well. So, but I'd love to have that early just so we'd have more time to digest it for sure.
Okay. Any other business from anyone else? Business arising from the minutes? I have one more thing I'd like to mention. This is again business arising from the minutes, and that's regarding, I think it was it number 2 on that same number 2? It was regarding, we were talking about the staff to organize an information session regarding severance process in Montague, which is a great idea. It's a great idea, but I just thought about this today. So otherwise I didn't have a chance to talk to you, Andrew, or Christy about this, but I only thought about it today. So I'm going to throw this out as it is business arising from the minutes. And that is, we know that the Recreation Committee has come up with this, I think, great idea to do information sessions. And I've been reading the minutes there that there may not be an information session maybe until April, but I guess I just sort of wondered if I could throw this out. Would that be a suggestion for us to do one of those nights. I guess I could put this question to either Ian or Jeff because they're our reps. Or should we leave it as a council special meeting? But it would be really, this is such an important issue that it would be a really good chance maybe for the public to be involved and be at one of those meetings. Anyways, just a thought. I'll throw that out to the two reps. Ian first.
Yeah, thank you, Reeve. I don't mind the idea about going to the Recreation Committee at one point in time, but I think that it's important that council has an opportunity to discuss it amongst council and understand what the process is. I don't think there's a very clear understanding of what this process is. And if you watch the last couple of meetings of the meeting adjustments that have occurred, there seems to be a lot of confusion about what's allowed, what isn't allowed. There's people are having plans done and everything else, and they're spending a lot of money on these thoughts that all this stuff's going to be approved. I think this is a much broader conversation with council first, that council understands what the steps are, who makes the rules, and who has the ability to change them as it goes through with the county and everything else before we start presenting it to the public.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. Jeff.
I'm pretty well in the same boat as that too as well. I think there's some housekeeping problems that we have with it. So I mean, I understand that we're talking about doing an information session, but there's a housekeeping issue. That's what we discussed even that last year about how we need to get a better plan, and that's what we were talking about having when we had our planner in place too as well. So really, we need to fix what's wrong with the problem first, and then I think it's great to have an information session so we can then explain it for people like after it's fixed. But there's a problem with the system right now, so it's more than just an information session that I think also that we're going to be doing. So
okay, great. That's great. Thanks. That's great. So we'll just leave it then for now. I just wanted to mention that, but we'll leave it to our staff as it is in the report. We'll leave it to our staff to organize that in the future. Thank you. Then, if there's no other business rising from, yes, Karen.
So would we put that on hold though till we get our new planner hired, or would you have staff start it now before they get hired?
Jeff?
I see. I know I brought that up before because I mean we had discussed this last year too as well about this being one of the things when our planner comes into place, and I wonder is that better for the planner we have in place to be the person that dives into that, because I agree with that. That's the one side of it. I don't know where council feels in that way. I think we should be letting that planner that we're going to be bringing on that be sort of one of their orders of business that they're going to be diving into. But now that we've opened that conversation.
Okay, Ian?
I agree with that. I think that makes sense to let the planner do the outline or make the outline for Montague. I think is the key, right? We want to define our own route of what it is, how things happen within our township, not have it dictated by the county or the conservation authority or anything else within our umbrella that we're allowed to. I think is the key. So I think that when the person comes on, I think that's something that should be high on the top of the priority list.
And I'm not sure that we will be able to define everything 100% in-house municipally. I'm not sure that we can do that because I'm sure that some of this comes down from other levels of government, not just the county, but the provincial government too. So, well, I agree with you, Ian, the most as much as possible, but I'm not sure that we can do it 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. There's going to be things that we can't change because there's regulations that just won't allow it. But I think that we all have to agree and have a very concise path forward on anything that we can have a say on.
Exactly. Okay, I think, yes, Jeff.
Just so I can touch on that, because exactly, I think that's the biggest thing is so there's not confusion, because we know there's a lot of back and forth. It's to stop the back and forth, because people say, well, now it's 6 months later, now I'm asking for this. We all know that problem. So I mean, like I think it's really just so we can make sure that we have a best way to streamline it the best way for people. So this is good.
All right, great, thanks. Then we'll just leave it in your good hands there, Christy and Andrew and the rest of all our staff, and when we get the planner. Okay, thanks. Then we're moving on. We have no business arising. We have no delegations tonight, and we're going to go to our report of municipal officers. The first one's going to be yours, Andrew, and that's on the communication tower.
Okay, thank you. So this report is for action, and it's regarding a proposed communication tower installation. And the recommendation is the council supports the application for 742 Pinery Road. And what we're looking at here is back in September, ExploreNet had came and talked to council. They had 2 towers they were going to be installing, and they became aware late in 2021 that there was an issue with one of the installation sites, so they've updated it to this site. And this is just a follow-up procedure stemming from that to bring that along so that council could do a resolution for this and provide a letter of concurrence to ExploreNet so they can continue to proceed with that. As we discussed in September, because of the way that internet and tower installations are done with Industry Canada, ExploreNet probably could appeal if the township was not providing a resolution anyways to proceed. So the option that's recommended, number 1, is to issue a letter of concurrence for the project, knowing that this will achieve increased connectivity for residents by providing high-speed wireless internet connection, greater capacity in Montague Township. And I think that sums up this report.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you then. We have a motion. Actually, I do not have a mover and seconder for this one. So I need a mover, please. So moved by Claus. Seconded by Karen. And that is that the council receive the following report. That's the proposed communication tower installation, and that the following be approved. The council supports the application of the communication towers proposed by ExploreNet at 742 Pinery Road, Montague, K7A 4S7, PIN number 0524-10043. Coordinates 45.046201/75.96535 to increase access to high-speed internet service and direct staff to proceed with option 1 and issue a letter of concurrence for the project. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you, Andrew, for that one. The next one, we're going to go to our Public Works Manager, Steve Rothwell. And welcome, Steve. This is on the speed complaint policy. Over to you.
Thank you, Reed. So this is a report for information. Just kind of providing some updates from the last meeting when it got passed in principle. It's been sent to the chair of the Police Services Board. He reviewed, there's a couple procedures where he just would like to have it initially when the complaint comes in, that the Police Services Board is notified right off the get-go. So that was added in on under the bylaw, which is in front of council tonight. A couple other things is looking back on Police Services Board meeting from before, there was lots of discussion on this said policy. Other municipalities have similar ones, and the police chief said they are a great asset for townships to have, as it's a procedure that it's easy to follow. And then staff just included a small section of outlining about our existing board that we do have. staff's using it to update road counts throughout the municipality. So one problem we could run into down the road with this is the longevity of how long these signs have to stay up with the complaints. It could tie it up, and in time, it would be possibly something council would have to explore, is purchasing a second one that would be dedicated to these. But in the meantime, staff is confident we can make sure both operations remain ongoing. And that is the report for information.
Thank you, Steve. Any questions? Seeing none, I have a motion. It was moved by Jeff Carroll and seconded by Kieran Jennings that that the council receive the following report on the speeding complaint policy, and that the following be approved. That council receive speeding complaint policy for information. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And the next one is back to you, Andrew, and that's on the Development Charges Reserve Fund.
Thank you. Yes, this report is also a report for information, and it's for the 2021 Development Charges Reserve Fund statement. And the recommendation is that council accepts this report for information. This is a report that is done each year. You'll notice this is in a similar format to how it's been done in the previous year. And it provides council with an annual statement of the Development Charges Reserve Funds for the preceding year. The attached Appendix 1 provides the chart with that information on it and breaks it out. It includes the starting balance, the revenues through the year, and then the amounts that were transferred to capital from Development Charges Reserve. During 2021, the township collected $106,580.90 versus the budget that was what we budgeted for was $40,000 for those fees. So it was a higher revenue than anticipated due to a busy year with the building department. And the amount that was used for development charges was $19,250. And that would have been a little higher, but due to an issue with the tendering of a truck for public works that wasn't available, that money is still in the reserve and available for 2022. So there's no financial implications at this time from this report, and the Appendix 1 is attached with the statement. It provides that information that we report annually, and with our closing balance in that appendix in that report, we take that into consideration for 2022 as we look at our budget and our capital planning for the year for 2022.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion moved by Karen Jennings, second by Ian Straight, that the council receive the Development Charges Reserve Fund report and that the following be approved, that council accepts the report for information. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you, Andrew. Again, this one is yours on the 2021 remuneration and expenses report.
Yes, so yes, this next report also for information, and it is in regards to the statement of remuneration and expenses for 2021. So the Municipal Act requires every year that council is provided with this statement. So we're doing that the same as we've done in previous years. So we look at that. We noted here that the 2021 remuneration and expenses are shown as authorized through Bylaw 3594/2017. Appendix 1 attached shows the statement of remuneration and expenses for that year. And what you have there is it shows a summary of the amounts for councillors on the first part of the chart. Includes benefits. What those are the amounts for employer health tax and Canada pension plan that are part of remuneration for councillors. And then also below that, we have the committees and boards, and it shows the amounts for 2021 for which committee it was and which person it was as required, and shows the amounts based on the frequency of meetings, the The library board members, you'll notice that's an annual amount, and the other ones are by activity levels. And the last column for expenses, because of COVID, is not anything there like there might have been in previous years. So in next year's report, you may see more activity there as things might be a little more back to normal.
Thank you, Andrew. Karen, please.
So Andrew, what you're saying is that PSB, fence viewer, and property standards didn't have any activity to receive remuneration in 2021?
Yeah, that's right. Nothing that we've issued any remuneration for.
Any other questions? Moving on then, I have a motion moved by Ian Straight, seconded by Claus Vandermeer, that the council receive the 2021 remuneration and expenses report, and that the following be approved, that council accepts the report for information. All in favor? That's carried. Moving on. So that's all of the reports of our municipal officers, and we're going to move on to the reports of the committees. And I have a motion moved by Claus Vandermeer and seconded by Jeff Carroll that council approve the minutes of the committee of the whole meeting of February the 1st, 2022, and approve the recommendations contained within. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Is there any business arising from those minutes? Yes, Ian?
Thank you, Reeve. Just on the vaccination policy, I just want to clarify with everyone, just to make sure that I understand everything correctly. The vaccination policy of having to present your certification you've been vaccinated applies to everyone within the township that is vaccinated. But if there's people that or sorry, not that's in the township, that works for the township, needs to supply that. But anybody that isn't vaccinated, there's no repercussions from not being vaccinated. It doesn't mean that you lose a position, you don't lose your job or anything like that, but you just have to do the educational video, and that any new hires have to be vaccinated. I just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
That is my understanding, Ian, but I'm going to go to you, Andrew, and maybe you can respond to that.
Right. So the policy, as reviewed by the township legal, that was the case, that it wasn't really enforceable the way it was written.
Okay. I just want to make sure that's correct in what I said. That's all. Thank you.
And Karen, please.
So just to clarify, Andrew, when you said enforceable, we're still okay to have the mandatory for new hires, not current existing staff, council members, or committee members, correct?
Yeah, the township has the ability to decide what they would look for in a new hire candidate.
And that was okay by legally also, that's that part of it?
Yeah, when
Because
I checked in,
if they were saying that the presently employed people, it is not enforceable. They're not saying that for new hires?
no, like when we were proceeding in our advertising for new job positions, we looked into that in December, and what we found out was it's at the discretion of the employer in offering an offer of employment to a new employee if they wish to ask for that.
Right, thanks. So Karen, and then to back to Claus, he has a question. So Karen, you first, please.
Yeah, because I think what it was is that anybody who was currently employed by the township, a council member or committee member, it was prior to the policy, which is why it would not be mandatory or enforceable, sorry. But we had the ability for any new to make it mandatory because that was a policy then that got put into place before they were hired.
Great. And Claus?
Thank you, Reeve. That's my understanding of the policy, the way it's just explained by the other two counselors. So thank you.
Great. Good question there, Ian, and it's good to keep, it's best for us to talk about it in a meeting and everybody's clear. So good one. So let's see, where are we at now? Any other business arising from the committee of the whole meeting of February the 1st? If there's no other business, then we're going to move on. We have no petitions. We have a couple of bylaws. I'm going to read them. Moved by Jeff Carroll, second by Karen Jennings. That by the bylaw 3884 2022 being a bylaw to regulate the use of municipally owned fire hydrants, being read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 15th day of February 2022. All in favor? That bylaw is passed. Thank you. The next one was moved by Karen Jennings and second by Ian Straight, that bylaw 3885 2022 being a bylaw to establish a speeding complaint policy and procedure. Be read a first, second, and third time and passed, signed, and sealed this 15th day of February 2022. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Moving on. Okay, we have no motions and notices of motions. The correspondence action, some of the correspondence has been moved to action items. And I do believe, I think this is more or less the way it is, Jeff, that I think you and I have asked for 4 different items to be moved forward. And then you've got one and I've got one separate. And so we're going to go through them one at a time. And there's a couple of them I would ask that maybe both you and I can speak to them as we both brought them forward, if that's okay with you, Jeff. And the first one, I'll put you on the spot because the first one is correspondence item, information item B. And that's the one on the Recreation Culture Committee. So Jeff, you can speak to that one, please.
Yeah, sure. And feel free for anybody else that has input that if I miss anything to jump into as well. But I know the Rec Committee and Culture Committee want to kind of get together with us for Easter too as well, to be able to do something at the hall for an Easter egg hunt and an Easter breakfast and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I think it'd be great for us to be able to do it all together and go forward with that. So I'm assuming most of the council would hopefully be on board with that, and let's team up with the Rec Committee and do something cool for Easter. I know they have some ideas, so we'll have to make sure that we're good with the funds that might need to be available. But so I'd like to make sure that I guess say that, or is everybody game for joining up with the Rec and Culture Committee and doing something nice for the community for Easter?
So I see a couple, 2 or 3 nods and thumbs up. I think it's a fantastic idea and good for the Recreation Committee for coming up with this again. I will tell you right off the bat that I cannot be involved in this. Sad to say, because you know me, I like to be involved in everything, but I can't be involved in this. I'm going to be working in Bowmanville that same day. I'm involved in a show, and this is I think it's the 46th year on the same weekend, Easter weekend, in the same location. It's been going for 46 years, but we got canceled for the last 2 years, and everybody is biting at the bit to get back to this antique show. So I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it in the good hands of all of our staff and the 4 of you for looking after this. But I'm sorry about that, but I just won't be able to. Karen?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was Easter weekend. So is there an option that the Rec Committee could consider a different weekend? Because Easter weekend definitely isn't a good weekend for my family either.
Develop point.
So maybe the Rec members could take it back to their next meeting and see whether or not a different date would work, like a weekend before that, maybe? Before the
Oh, Bill.
actual physical Easter weekend.
Yes, Jeff?
Thanks, Karen, and Bill for that. We have a meeting next week with the group, so definitely we'll bring that back and at least get it, make sure that that's part of the agenda, so we can kind of bring that feedback back, and because I don't think anything's set in stone. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, I'm sure we can bring that back next week to have that discussion. So that's good, because maybe there is a better day. That's a good point.
And Claus?
Thanks, Reeve. Jeff, are they talking Saturday? Easter weekend on a Saturday?
Yeah, the 16th is a Saturday, right? Yeah.
Okay, just on Saturday.
The 16th is a Saturday, yes.
Yeah, I'm good for that. I mean, how many of council members does a rec committee require to help out? Okay, we've got a fairly large group there.
Yes, Ian?
I think the idea from the last meeting was that all council will participate and take care of the breakfast portion of the event.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're gonna need a few of us then. Unless
I'm
Jeff-
sure, I'm sure they'll fill in as if there's any holes, but if we can get all
yeah.
there and figure out a date that works for everyone, that'd be great.
Okay, so then we'll leave this in the good hands of the organization of the Recreation Committee, and then we'll hear about it probably at our next meeting.
So just to
Yes,
clarify, just so that we can make sure it keeps going fluidly, like if it was on the 9th of April, does that work for everybody?
It would work for me.
Work for me.
I'm good the 9th.
Perfect. And the cost for the breakfast would come out of council funding? Is that, I think that was one of the comments possibly made before. Is that just so we all have an idea, so we can keep everything, the ball rolling?
Do we
Yeah,
want
we
to
have-
come out of the
No,
council?
I'll just ask the question. I'll just ask, is there any opposition to that? So seeing no opposition, Ian, I think the answer is yes.
All right, thanks.
Great, thanks. So we have a motion then, and that motion was moved by Jeff Carroll. I need a seconder, please. Moved by and seconded by Karen. That council received the following letter from Montague Recreation Culture Committee, and that the following be approved, that we receive this for information. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. The next information item moved forward had to do with the provincial government providing more funding to rural municipalities. And mostly to do with the infrastructure projects, and specifically this motion is talking about major projects like bridges and culverts and so on. So Jeff, I'll let you speak to that also. And just to be clear, just because one of us moves it forward, anybody can speak to this. So Jeff, you can open it up, please.
Sure. I mean, I just moved it forward because it's obviously something that is geared towards a municipality like us. I mean, we have one coming up on Matheson Road where that culvert's going to have to be redone. I mean, those are just any time that we can support something that has an opportunity to get us more funding for those kind of projects would be something I would want to support.
Great. Anything else? Then I need a seconder for this motion. It was moved by Jeff Carroll and seconded by Karen. Sorry, I saw Karen and Claus there. I'll put Claus, you down for the seconder here for this one. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And the next one is a resolution that came in from the town of Bracebridge. And that's on the joint and several liability. And it was brought forward from, I think, several municipalities. And it really has to do with the insurance costs that are rising and continue to rise. And as it's been pointed out before, and I know I've been going on to a rant myself about joint and several liability probably for 10 years now. And it was because there's a disappropriation between the liability relative to the responsibility. So, in other words, a municipality can be, just as an example, and this has actually happened, a municipality can be 1% liable, and if there's no money to go around, because of this joint several liability, they always run to the deepest pockets, which they think are municipalities, which is really the taxpayers. So even though the municipality might be 1% liable, you can be held, we can be held up to 99% financially strained. So it's a really big issue. So Jeff, you moved it forward, I moved it forward, and if you wanted to speak about this or anybody else, I think it's really important that we do that. So Jeff?
Yeah, I moved it forward. I think we've signed on to one of these even a couple years ago when I was on council, and it's just another one that when they come across the desk, let's keep supporting it, because obviously the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So
yeah, and the thing is, like, this really is a government responsibility, a provincial government responsibility. They're responsible for the joint and several liability regulations and so on. And if you read this resolution or that came in from the town of Bracebridge, the premier was supposed to review this in 2018, and he may have, and then it moved forward, but it never came forward to us. And I think it was moved forward to maybe AMO, but we have not heard the results of this review. And certainly when we brought this up at AMO and possibly Good Roads and possibly Roma and so on, the government did say that they would review it. And like I said, I think they did, but we just haven't got the results. And this is an issue that's been going back at least, I'm going to say at least 10, 11, or 12 years. So talk about things dragging on. And the one meeting that I had when I was warden of the county in, I believe it was the second time, 2017. And we were in a meeting in Toronto, actually, and the premier was there. We weren't expecting her to walk in, but somebody opened up a question period so any of us could ask questions. And I put it to her, and she basically said that she would be looking into it. And then when it was brought up later that year at, I believe it was AMO in Ottawa, and maybe some of you were sitting there, because the Attorney General's answer to this was, we have run this by the lawyers and they think it's just fine. Well, the problem was that the person that was speaking was a lawyer. So
Yes.
You can imagine why they think it's just fine, because lawyers make a lot of money on this. So Jeff, I'm glad you brought this forward again. And it is something that we have to continue, because there's no way that we can afford it, and it's just not right. And I know at the time they were looking at other models, and there was a model that was used. I remember quite a few years looking at that. There was a model that was, I believe it was being used in Saskatchewan. And I think what it did was it said that a municipality couldn't be held any more than 33% responsible. I believe that's what it was. And I believe that maybe AMO was actually entertaining that idea at the time, that that might work as a maximum. But right now it can go to 99%, and it actually has. So it's a big, big issue. So we do have a motion though. This one was moved by Jeff Carroll again and seconded by Ian Straight. Thank you, Ian. That council receive the following resolution from the town of Bracebridge on joint and several liability reform, and that the following be approved. That has to be filled out by you, Christy, there. And that'll be just the same as the resolution that came in. Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Now, the next one was from the Township of Perth South on the catch and release justice. So Jeff, I think it was me that brought F forward and you that brought G forward. Is that correct? So I'll open it up then on this F, and I'm in support of this resolution and just asking council to support it also. And this one is on basically asking the government to improve the current state of the catch and release justice model in Ontario and in our Ontario legal system. The problem is, the biggest problem, there's several problems, but the biggest problem is that police are spending too much time managing repeat arrests of the same offenders. It's happening more and more and more. And the same offenders are causing it, and the police spend a lot of time. So that's what this motion is in support of. Does anyone else want to speak to this? So I do have a motion then. It's moved by myself and seconded by, I need a seconder for this one. Karen, thank you. The council received the following resolution from the Township of Perth South, recatch and release justice, and that the following be approved. And again, you can fill that out. Christy, please. All in favor? Thank you. And Jeff, the next one is yours.
Actually, it's really just about the cemeteries and to make sure that, you know, once again, advocating that it doesn't fall into municipal responsibility if they become abandoned. We have a number of cemeteries and hopefully they thrive and we don't have any issues with them for centuries. But if and when something happens, it'd be nice that there was a backup plan and not, it just doesn't fall obviously right onto the municipalities.
Thank you. Anyone else speak to this? Okay, then I'm going to move the motion. The motion was moved by yourself, Jeff Carroll, and seconded by Karen. That council received the following resolution from the Township of South Glengarry, re-abandoned cemeteries, and that the following be approved. That we've received this, and you can fill this one out also, Christy, please. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. And now we're going to go to unfinished business, and I brought up the issue. Thanks to council for allowing this to happen. But I felt that we needed to do this tonight. And basically, I need consensus from council that we could move our interviews to Rosedale Hall when our staff is ready to hear those interviews. So I just need a consensus if that's okay from council. Does anyone want to ask any questions first? Karen?
So that's for the council members and the consultant that's assisting us to meet at Rosedale Hall and do the interviews there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any other questions then? So I'll go around the table and get consensus if you like, please. Karen?
Yes.
Ian? And thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And Claus?
Yes.
And myself. So Andrew, you've got that consensus then that you can let, if you don't mind letting our consultant know that? Or sorry, no, Christy. I'll ask you, Christy. So Christy, if you could just let our consultant know that that's been approved by council. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thank you for that. So moving on, Christy or Andrew, do we have any questions from the public?
Yes, I have one question from the public.
Okay.
So I have a question relating to the speeding complaints policy. The question is, why does the speeding complaints policy not cover all of the roads in the township? For example, the county roads or Highway 15?
So, well, first of all, the county roads are separate from ours, and I guess our policies, I don't think they can override the policy of the county roads, and 15 is a provincial jurisdiction. I don't think we can override that either. But I'll go to you, to Andrew, maybe for if you can give us an answer, if you have one, or Steve, or anyone else. I'll open it to anyone who wants to respond.
No, I
Steve's here.
agree with you, Reeve Dobson. I believe that hopefully our public works manager will confirm that as well. But those roads not being in our jurisdiction wouldn't be things that our council makes decisions about. But we'll check with Mr. Rothwell here as well.
Yeah. Jeff? Guess we can put you on the.
That's exactly what's been stated is the correct answer. We have no authority over MTO roads or county roads, and this was a lower tier municipality bylaw. It does not govern upper tier municipality. So that's the answer, and I hope that is a quality answer for the resident.
Good, and it's also a good question. So it's a great question and a good answer, I think. I hope. Jeff?
Do we know, Steve, sorry to put you on the spot, but since it came up, do we know, like, does the county have a similar policy, or is there similar policies in place? Is that
They've got policies. I'm not sure what they are though, Jeff.
Yeah,
and if we don't know, I mean, it's just be because is there like is it already in place, or is it already overlapping, or is it
I'm sure it's in place and it's been in place. I haven't heard any discussions in the last while for sure about it. So, but it's a good question, Jeff. And maybe Steve, it would be. Would you mind making sending a message to our public works at the county, just asking for them to forward their policy?
Sure, I can do that. Yep.
And it wouldn't hurt to look at it.
Yep.
Ian?
Thanks, Steve?
Yeah, thank you very much, Reeve. That was exactly what I was going to ask. If we could see the county policy.
Okay, any other questions, Christy?
No, I don't have any other questions.
Or Andrew?
No, I haven't received any questions either.
By the way, Christy, are you able to tell us, just as an example, like say tonight, how many people that we have following us on live stream?
Yeah, I can tell you that. Right now it says we currently have 6 people watching the meeting.
Okay. Good. Okay, thanks, everybody. And then I think that's all of our business for now. And I have a motion. It was moved by Ian Straight and seconded by Claus Vandermeer. The bylaw 3886/2022 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its regular meeting held on February the 15th, 2022. Be read for second and third time and passed, signed and sealed this 15th day of February, 2022. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And it was moved by Claus Vandermeer and seconded by Jeff Carroll that this meeting do now adjourn at 7:00 p.m. until March the 1st, 2022 at 6 p.m. or until the call of the Reeve, subject to need. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. So if we could take 2 minutes as a little break so we can change over to our committee of the whole meeting. So thank you, everybody. And we'll be back in 2 minutes. Can you hear me, Christy?
I
Yeah,
can hear you.
okay,
I
thanks.
just can't see you. Here, I prompted you.
How's
There we
that?
go. Yeah, I can see you now.
You're muted, Karen.
The share button and the share content and stop video should not be beside each other because I've hit share content now.
I don't know what you shared.
It says I can't share, only the host, but I can't
Oh, yes.
unhighlight it either.
Gotcha.
It's like one of the programs I use, the delete button's right beside something else, and that's not a good spot.
No.
Okay, I think we have everybody back, and we're going to then begin. Welcome everyone to the Committee of the Whole meeting of February the 15th, 2022. And this also is being live streamed electronically. So welcome to the public who may be watching. So this meeting is now open, and I have a motion to adopt the agenda. It was moved by Jeff Carroll and seconded by Karen Jennings that the Committee of the Whole agenda dated February the 15th, 2022 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And if anyone on council has any disclosure of interest, you can declare it now or anytime during the meeting. Moving on, we have no delegations tonight, and we've got two reports of the municipal officers. And the first one is going to be yours, Steve, and that's on the micro resurfacing award. So over to you, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, Reeve. Yeah, so this report is for action. It is for the approval of award to Miller Paving for the micro surfacing throughout Montague Township on Rideau River Road and Harper Condi. All tender notifications and that was published beyond our procurement policies. Miller Paving was low bid as noted in figure 1. There was 2 submissions for this, similar to last year. I came in a little bit below what we were expecting for unit price due to how far away the county works are for this year. So that was good to see. Staff just kind of noted throughout that we are following our 10-year capital roads need plan. Right now, we're currently a couple of years ahead of schedule. We're working on our priority roads, trying to get some of them into the capital plan as they are not actually listed in the 10-year plan. So it's pulling those ones into it. And just, this will increase the conditions for approximately 5 years. A little bit of savings for the municipality, and will increase the driving conditions for our residents. And again, this is going to give us an actual lineage for our budget approval. So it's good to see these numbers come in and coming in lower than anticipated. And that is the report.
You, yeah, thank you, Steve. Thank you for this great work and great report also. And what the word that comes to mind for me is how well you're being so many meetings when you do your reports, it's being proactive. We're trying to keep ahead. And so I know that I have a few hands up, but compliments for great work and thanks for that. And I'm going to open it up. And I think Ian, you were first, and then Claus. So Ian, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Reeve.
Okay, and Claus.
Let's try that again. My
Oh, sorry.
apologies. Thank you very much, Reeve, for that. And thank you very much, Stephen. As always, you do a great job. It's nice to hear that we're actually 2 years ahead. So does that mean that we might be able to fit some extra roads in the budget in the upcoming years to do some additional paving or hard chipping or chip and dip, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, that's a great question, Councillor Straight. I'm every day, basically, I'm into that moving schedule and then trying to pull in and move everything forward. So I'm constantly trying to move it years in advance and pull in extra roads and try and do the best we can. So yeah, absolutely. Every savings we have and every year we're kind of gaining, I'm definitely putting that into place.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Steve, for your work.
Thank you.
Claus.
Thanks, Reeve. And yeah, thanks, Steve. Great report. I'm glad to see we're moving ahead. Just curious, Red River Road, when was this tar and chip done? Has it been 10 years?
It's not been 10 years. I do believe it was completed in the 5 to 7 range, I believe, and it's been identified to be a single right now. So this was slated for 2024, I believe.
Okay, now moving ahead is great. I think this is going to put that road in great shape. So again, my compliments to you, sir. Great work.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Steve. I do have a motion moved by Karen Jennings, second by Ian Straight, that the Committee of the Whole receive the following report. The 2022 micro resurfacing tender results, and that the following be recommended to Council. That Council directs staff to award tender PW-C-12-2022-22-EO to Miller Paving Limited for $344,610.24, including non-recoverable HST, subject to final 2022 budget approval. All in favor? That's carried. Now all we need is warm weather, Steve.
Just it.
Okay,
Snow's
so
gonna
then,
disappear on Thursday.
yeah. So now I do believe our next report is going to be given to us by our acting planner, Carol Grinke. And so welcome, Carol. So welcome to us. And this is on the 1292 Rosedale site plan report. So it's over to you there, Carol. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reeve. Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to bring to council a site plan that's ready for approval for the redevelopment of a very high-profile site in the township. So the staff recommendation in this case is that council supports in principle the site plan application submitted by the owners of 1292 Rosedale Road, and that the committee passes a resolution authorizing the clerk, administrator, and Reeve to execute a site plan agreement with 125-67563 Canada Inc. to accommodate the redevelopment of the property. So just to so council is familiar with the property. You had a zoning application before you last year, rezoning the former Montague Public School site to a light industrial special exception 3 to accommodate a high-tech office. So the site-specific zoning in this case was customized for that particular use, and the reason for that, of course, is a broadly defined industrial zoning at that location could pose challenges given the sensitive uses nearby. So staff, the applicants, and council all had settled on the zoning that was approved with no appeals and is now in effect. So now the redevelopment is just about ready to be completed, and the site plan application coordinates some alterations to the overall site to best accommodate the new use. Generally, development is proposed within the interior of the building. However, through the planning process, we did also review the proposal with various municipal and external agencies and departments for comments on that. So just to highlight a couple of the enhancements to the site is one of the entrances is proposed to be relocated pursuant to municipal access policy, and then some grading changes were introduced around the southwest corner of the site to minimize the erosion that was happening at that location. The dumpster is being relocated to a location often in the rear yard rather than close to the road, with some enhanced landscaping also proposed on the site, and filling in a few of those dead trees along the tree line on the northern property line. So staff certainly would like to acknowledge the work of the developer, certainly for their investment in the township and the jobs that they're going to bring to the community. We're certainly grateful for them, and also I'd like to acknowledge the work of my colleagues in other departments, in particular the Public Works Department, for their work on guiding a good site plan here to complete this development and allow the business to open up in the township. So the staff recommendation is that that committee supports this application in principle and directs us to finalize an agreement for execution. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Just for clarification, and I did read everything in its entirety, but you said something. I think you said that one of the entrances was being relocated. Just for clarification, I thought that, like, there's always been the two entrances there because it was for school buses, so you could go in and out. But my understanding was that the entrance that's closest to Roger Stevens is simply being closed off, and they're using the other entrance. Is that correct, or am I not correct on that?
That is correct, Mr. Chair. I misspoke. The entrance closest to Roger Stevens is going to be removed.
Yeah. Okay, and the other one's staying the same as it is. Great, thanks, Carol, for this. Any questions from council? Seeing none, then yes, Claus.
Thanks for another question. Thanks very much, Carl, for the report, and Steve for your work on this. I think it's great that this building is now going to be used. We all know it's sat empty for so long and had been sold back and forth to I don't know how many different people, but these gentlemen certainly have an excellent plan for it, and it's great to see that it's moving forward. And as you said, Carl, it will bring some monies into the township, employment, and all that kind of good stuff. So this is a positive for us today.
Great, thanks, Claus. So we have a motion moved by Ian Straight, seconded by Claus Vandermeer, that the committee of the whole receive the following report: the 1292 Rosedale Road site plan, and that the following be recommended to council: that the committee of the whole supports in principle the site plan application submitted by the owners of the property known municipally as 1292 Rosedale Road, and that council passes a resolution authorizing the clerk administrator and Reeve to execute a site plan agreement with 12567563 Canada Inc. to accommodate the redevelopment of the property. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. So those are all our reports tonight. We're moving on to, there are no reports of committees, no petitions, motions, and there's no unfinished business and other business. And I will open this back up to Christy for any questions that you may have from the public.
I have no questions from the public.
And you neither, Andrew?
No, I do not see any questions from the public here either.
Okay, so again, as it's been said many times by many of us, so thank you to, we've got Steve, Andrew, and Carol here to thank, and Christy for all your work. Great work, and so thanks for that. And this is a short meeting, but if there's nothing else that anyone has to add, then I have a motion. It was moved by Claus Vandermeer and seconded by Jeff Carroll, that the committee of whole meeting do now adjourn at 7:19 p.m. All in favor? And that is carried.
I'm opposed.
Do we, I guess this is nothing to do with the meeting, but the question is to you, Jeff, did we have time? Did we finish early enough for you to play hockey tonight.
We can ramble for the next hour if you want to, Reeve. I'm good. We got lots of time, so.
That's why I told them. You don't need to play hockey.
Well, at least we've got Carol smiling quite a bit. I'm sure that he's smiling about the Leafs, so.